You could hear the sound of a perfect shot before you even saw who fired it. That sharp crack sliced through the air with a kind of arrogant precision, followed by polite applause, subtle laughs, and the clinking of glasses held by manicured hands. Just another afternoon at the Liberty Hills Shooting Club, the most exclusive gun range on the East Coast, where the rich play sniper like they're shooting at fate itself. But what happens when someone who doesn't belong walks through those polished gates? What if that someone, ignored, underestimated, and clearly out of place, carries a past none of them could even imagine? The answer's simple. Silence turns into an audience. Mockery turns into doubt. And the truth. It hits harder than a clean, dead center shot. Jake Hawthorne, 42, wasn't just the face of elite competitive shooting. He was the elite. 5-time national champ, Olympic medalist, and poster boy for Remington's priciest line of rifles. His laugh was as rehearsed as his aim, and that tanned smile stuck around almost as much as his bullseyes. When he nailed the center of the target again, the club members, all suits, cologne, and names that came with inheritances, clapped with the same enthusiasm they used to pay for exclusivity. Near the entrance, just outside the velvet rope, separating the lobby from the lounge, a woman stood quietly. Sarah Collins, 35, hair pulled back in a low bun, basic jeans, light blue sweater, a crumpled envelope in her hand. She looked wrong for the place, like she'd wandered into a world that was never made for her, and maybe never would be. The receptionist, a young woman with a tight blazer, and a tighter smile, glanced at her like a smudge on glass, and then looked away, dismissing her existence altogether. "Excuse me," Sarah said, her voice almost too polite. "I'd like to sign up for today's open practice." The receptionist blinked slowly, answering with the kind of stiffness that comes from saying no with perfume and posture. "Members only, ma'am." Sarah took a slow breath, opened the crumpled envelope, pulled out a printed day pass with bold red ink. "It was a gift," she said, handing it over. "Everything's in order." The receptionist stared at the paper for way too long, as if waiting for it to self-destruct. But eventually, with a vague and indifferent wave, she pointed toward the basic range. Sarah nodded her thanks and held tight to her worn leather bag as she walked in. Her footsteps echoed against the polished floor, blending with the constant, a pop of gunfire, none louder than the stairs starting to trail her. Jake noticed her before anyone else. "Well, well," he said to his buddies, loud enough. "Looks like someone got lost on the way to Walmart." Laughter followed, cold, synchronized. Sarah didn't flinch, didn't look, but her eyes, fixed on the floor, were carrying something no one had seen. Not yet. She picked the last booth. In the row, the farthest, most isolated one, the wood was scratched up, the support worn down. No regulars used it. She set her bag down and carefully unwrapped an old cloth, revealing a basic Glock 19. No flash, no gold accents, no custom engravings, just clean, practical steel, the exact opposite of the shiny status symbols being waved around by the Liberty Hills regulars. Across the room, Jake and his friends were now watching her with the kind of smirking curiosity usually reserved for circus acts. $10 says she can't even hit paper. One of them muttered. 10,000, Jake shot back, eyes never leaving Sarah. "I bet 10 grand she misses the 50-yard bullseye. I bet she's never even held a real gun." The offhand bet spread through the club like spilled champagne. What started as a joke was quickly becoming a spectacle. Jake strutted over, armed with that same smug charm he used on TV interviews. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said, voice dripping with condescension. "You sure you're in the right place? This isn't a knitting club." Sarah looked up at him, really looked, and her light brown eyes met his with a calm steadiness that knocked him slightly off balance. "I'm just here to practice," she replied, plain and simple. Jake smiled, the kind of smile that always came before a punchline. "Let's make it interesting then," he said. "If you hit the 50-yard bullseye, I'll cover everything. If you miss, you leave and never come back. Deal?" Sarah hesitated for just a second, then glanced down at the gold ring on her finger. She twisted it once. A quiet little ritual. Maybe a memory, maybe a blessing. "All right," she said. Jake raised his arms like he was announcing a circus act. "Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a show." Sarah gripped the Glock. No one noticed the subtle shift in her stance, the balance in her feet, the control in her breathing, all the silent cues of someone who knew exactly what they were doing. 3 years before that shot, Sarah's world had gone silent. Not from a perfect bullet, but from a final 21-gun salute. At Arlington National Cemetery, under a gray April sky, she stood frozen, an American flag folded tightly to her chest and her heart in pieces. Beside her, 3 Navy SEALs stood like statues, paying final respects to one of their own, Chief Petty Officer Daniel Collins, better known by a name no one dared speak aloud, the Ghost. No one ever saw him coming. Few saw him leave. But when he aimed, he never missed. The ceremony was short, honorable, brutal in its symbolism. Sarah didn't cry. Not there. Not when people expected her to. Her grief had become a silent armor, built over years of living with departures that had no return date and reunions marked by scars he never explained. "I wish I could tell you everything," he'd whisper, fingers rough against her cheek. "But what I can say is you're the only reason I always came back." They met by chance, or maybe not, in a Norfolk coffee shop while he was visiting a teammate injured on a mission. She was a CPA, a numbers girl, structured, predictable life. He was chaos wrapped in discipline. But somewhere between spilled coffee and hours-long conversation, something clicked. Neither could explain it, but both knew it was real. 6 months later, they were married. Whenever Daniel was home, which wasn't often, he took Sarah to the range. "If I'm going to disappear for weeks, I need to know you can take care of yourself," he'd say, gently correcting her stance, but it quickly became more than just a precaution. Sarah didn't just learn, she absorbed. She breathed it in. Her body lined up with the rhythm of shooting like she was born to do it. "You've got natural talent," he said once, after she nailed 5 bullseyes in a row. "Steady hands, clear sight, and the rarest thing of all, calm in the chaos." Over time, shooting became more than a skill. It became their language, their connection when words and secrets got in the way. 2 days before the helicopter crash that took his life, they went shooting together. For the first time, Daniel didn't fire a single round. He just watched her. "Promise me you'll keep practicing," he said. "Even if I'm not around." She promised, not knowing it would be the last thing he'd ever ask of her. What was supposed to be a throwaway joke had turned into an event. And Jake, driven more by ego than any sense of fairness, decided to double down. 2 days later, Sarah got a message from Liberty Hill's reception. Jake had issued a new challenge. 3 bullseyes in a row, 75 yards, club standard, firearm. If she hits all 3, he'll donate $50,000 to the Veterans Valor Foundation. If she misses even once, she has to publicly admit she cheated. Sarah could have walked away. She knew what was at stake. This was Jake's turf. But there was something about him, his arrogance, his smugness, that mocking laugh, that wasn't just personal. It was symbolic. He stood for everyone who looked at someone like her and only saw what they wanted to see. She agreed, with one condition: if I win, the money goes straight to the vets, no excuses, no delays. Jake smiled, that gleam in his eye like the outcome was already locked. Deal. It'll be fun to watch. The range was packed on the day of the rematch. Members, guests, even a senator sitting quietly in the back. Sarah stepped up to the line, breathed in. First shot, bullseye. Second shot, bullseye. On the third, she paused, gently turned the ring on her finger, and fired bullseye again, 3 for 3, flawless. Jake didn't sleep that night. It wasn't about the money. He blew through 50 grand like it was another bottle of wine at dinner. It was her look, calm, unshaken, like this wasn't some battle, like it was just another Tuesday. No one walks into an elite gun club with a basic pistol and nails 3 bullseyes at 75 yards by accident. He needed to know. He had to know. The next morning, Boston's best private investigator got a call with clear instructions. Find out who she is, everything, where she's from, where she learned to shoot, who taught her, and especially what she's hiding. The initial report landed 2 days later. Even the detective seemed sheepish presenting it. Sarah Collins, 35, born in Vermont, degree in accounting, currently works at Meridian Financial Tax Analysis Division, no criminal record, no competitive shooting history, no active social media, extremely private life, moved to Boston 3 years ago from Virginia Beach. Jake's eyes narrowed. Husband? Yes. Daniel Collins. Married for 7 years. Died 3 years ago in a classified military helicopter crash. He was Navy SEAL. The detective paused, like weighing the impact of the next part. They called him the Ghost, one of the most decorated snipers in modern spec ops history. Jake didn't say a word. He just stared out the window. Not angry this time, but feeling something unfamiliar. Fear. In the days that followed, Grant became her unofficial coach. A precision rifle expert, he brought a Macmillan TAC 338, the same model she'd be using in the final stage of the competition. The difference between good and extraordinary, he told her, is knowing what to do when everything's working against you. Sarah learned fast. She always had. But now every shot was more than technique. It was response. The Liberty Hills Shooting Club had never been this full. What started as a casual bet had turned into a full-blown spectacle. Discreet invitations had been sent to politicians, CEOs, even war vets. Cameras were set up, silver trays carried drinks, and whispers cut across the hall like invisible bullets. Jake Hawthorne showed up flanked by sponsors and the press. Tight shirt with a luxury firearms brand, mirrored sunglasses, and a grin like he already had 1 foot on the podium. Sarah Collins arrived alone. Jeans, navy blue button-down, hair tied back. She carried only a small bag. Inside it, Daniel's notebook. She wasn't dressed to impress. And yet, all eyes were on her. Backstage, Rebecca Lawson, club manager, pulled her aside. I checked the gear, she whispered. There are subtle tweaks, nothing illegal, but enough to throw off someone who's not ready. Sarah just nodded. He plays dirty. I adapt. The competition had 10 stages, different weapons, different distances, from basic pistols to tactical rifles. Each shot was scored by 3 independent judges, with the final round using the Macmillan TAC 338, worth 30% of the total score. Jake had arranged that. He was all in on his specialty. Stage 1, technical tie. Stage 2, slight edge for Jake. Stages 3 and 4, Sarah evens it out. Stage 5, something's off. The Sig Sauer trigger was heavier than standard. Sarah noticed it instantly, adjusted, compensated, tied. Again. As the scores stacked up, the crowd's vibe began to shift. Quiet laughs faded into focused silence. Sarah didn't miss a beat. Between stages, she flipped through Daniel's notebook, breathed deeply, repeated the words he'd written over and over. Breathe, wait, clean motion, no hesitation. By the end of stage 8, the judges made it official. Dead tie. Everything came down to the final round. Jake approached before the finale. Your husband would be proud, trained you well. But ghost or not, you're going down here. Sarah looked at him. Calm. He taught me you don't need to shout. When you're ready to win. At the final station, the Macmillan TAC 338 gleamed like a golden trap. Sarah checked the scope, misaligned. The shoulder rest, slightly modified. All part of Jake's setup. She didn't complain. She adapted. She opened Daniel's notebook, flipped to his long-range wind call notes, adjusted slowly, precisely. In the distance, the crowd held its breath. Jake shot first. 9 hits in the center ring. Excellent performance. Sarah took her seat behind the rifle, lowered her head, breathed. First shot, bullseye. Second, third, fourth, fifth. Tension thickened. 6th, 7th, 8th. All perfect. On the 9th, something flashed. A reflection off the scope. A light coming from the crowd near Jake's group. A distraction. Sarah blinked, took a slow breath, and she heard him. Daniel's voice, like he was right beside her. Let the world disappear. It's just you, your breath, and the target. 10th, shot. Trigger pulled, silence. Target returned. 10 direct hits, dead center. The room exploded. First, total silence. Then roaring applause, shouts, whistles. A senator stood to clap. Sarah stayed seated, still, eyes locked on the target, like she was still in that training field 3 years ago, just her and Daniel. Rebecca stepped forward with the announcement. First. Place, Sarah Collins. Jake stood frozen, jaw clenched, fists tight. Sarah extended her hand, steady and sure. His was cold, trembling. This isn't over, he muttered. It is today, she replied, and you've got a promise to keep. Jake didn't respond, not with words. The look he gave the crowd wasn't that of a champion, it was a cornered man. Applause still echoing, he snapped. This was rigged. She couldn't have pulled that off. That scope was fixed. Something was set up. The room went still. People looked at each other, uncomfortable. Jake had lost. But now he was losing what he valued most, his image of being untouchable. Rebecca Lawson, always composed, stepped forward slowly, a tablet in her hand. Her face betrayed quiet disappointment. Actually, Mr. Hawthorne, we have footage from the equipment room. The access sensors were triggered at 5:42 a.m. before the event started. Your technician was recorded tampering with the TAC 338 scope, and not in Ms. Collins' favor. The adjustments were designed to throw her off. A wave of shocked murmurs swept through the crowd. The scandal was confirmed. The champion had cheated and still lost. Jake didn't move, mouth slightly open like he was reaching for an excuse, a loophole, a lie that could save face. But nothing came. Sarah stayed quiet. She didn't need to defend herself. She didn't need to prove anything. The truth had already done that. Rebecca turned to the crowd and said, loud and clear, Sarah, Collins' victory is legitimate, and even more remarkable considering the sabotage attempts. Let it be known, honor wins, even when the odds are stacked. And in that moment, among all those who had ignored her when she first walked in, no one dared underestimate the woman who came alone and left a champion. The next morning, headlines exploded across the country. Invisible vet outscores champion with perfect shots. Sarah Collins, the accountant who took down the gun king. Jake Hawthorne, accused of sabotage at elite shooting club. But Sarah didn't read a single one. While the world tried to turn her story into clicks, interviews, and overnight fame, she was at her kitchen table, tea in hand, watching the morning light spill through the window. Her phone buzzed non-stop. Notifications, interview requests, messages from strangers, but she only answered one call. Mike Reynolds. This thing's become a damn circus, he said. No small talk, I know, and I'm not looking for a stage, she replied. There was a pause. Mike exhaled. Then maybe it's time to decide what you are looking for. Like it or not, you've got a voice now, and people are listening. Sarah didn't answer right away. She stood, walked to the bedroom, and picked up Daniel's notebook again. Near the back, a loose page read, "If one day you use everything I taught, You let it be for something bigger than pride. A week later, she accepted an invitation to visit the Veterans Valor Foundation, the same organization that would receive the $50,000 donation. There, she met retired Navy Colonel James Holloway, the center's director. "We've got a pilot program," he explained. "Precision shooting as therapy for veterans. A lot of them are struggling to reconnect. They need discipline, focus, and someone who speaks their language without barking orders. Someone like you." Sarah hesitated. "Just for a second." "I'm in," she said. 6 months later, at the Foundation's new outdoor range, Sarah wore a simple vest, sunglasses, and held a clipboard. In front of her stood 6 veterans, different stories, deep scars, some with prosthetics, others with ghosts in their eyes. "Good morning," she said, voice steady. "My name's Sarah Collins. I'm not a champion, I'm not military. I'm just someone who learned that sometimes the steadiest hands are the ones that have shaken the longest. Today, we start with the basics, how to breathe." By the end of the year, during the Foundation's annual event, Colonel Holloway took the stage to announce a new honor, the Nathan Ghost Collins Award for Excellence in Veteran Marksmanship. Sarah, sitting in the front row, gently held her wedding ring between her fingers, and for the first time in a long time, she smiled with peace. If this story moved you the way it moved the lives of those veterans, consider subscribing to the channel. Here, every story has a target: your heart.